12 people came in and 12 people left. That's a little disrespectful at this point, I think. Am I skipping at all? No? Yeah, I'm the first viewer, IG. Yeah, I haven't really done like morning streams yet, so I don't really have a viewer base on it. What's up, blah blah? Lima. How is it? What to do? Lima is one of my favorite cities in South America. Um, I highly recommend it. Honestly, like the best thing to do in Lima is just the restaurants. Lima has some of the best restaurants in all of South America. I would go and look up. I forgot what the famous ones are named, but like just look up. There's a website that's like best restaurants in the world list, and there's like a South America. So it's the world's 50 best list, and like they have a South America list. What do you do if you have a dog shit passport? Okay, so number one, so right now the number one restaurant in the world is Mido in Lima. That's like crazy. So in the top 10 restaurants in the world, Lima has two of them. Mido and Koye. Do you know how insane that is? Paris only has one restaurant in the top 10. Tokyo only has one, but Lima has two. That's how amazing the food is in Lima. People don't understand how much of a food city Lima is. Um, what's your favorite place in Southeast Asia? My favorite place in Southeast Asia right now is unequivocally Vietnam. If you're going to Southeast Asia, you should be going to Vietnam. Nowhere else, really. Laos and Cambodia, in my opinion, are a little bit too janky. Um, they're a little bit just they're a little too rock and roll, I think. You know what I mean? A little too dive bar-ish, those two places. While at the same time, I think that Thailand is a little bit oversaturated with Americans and Europeans. You can't really backpack in Bali. That's not really a backpacking location, or like Indonesia. So I would 100% go backpacking through Vietnam. The scenery, the nature is incredible, and you'll have a great time. So Vietnam is the answer. Generally speaking, if you're thinking about going to Southeast Asia, the answer of where you should go is Vietnam. But like more specifically, if you're looking for going backpacking, definitely go Vietnam. I think a lot of people like to go to places like Laos or Cambodia, and I'm the same way. But they'll get off on kind of how janky it is, and then they'll tell other people to go. And it's like one thing that's I think is important when it comes to travel or just making recommendations in general is understanding differences between like your specific tastes and the tastes of the people who you're recommending stuff to, right? And you need to understand that like your tastes like don't necessarily align with the people who you're recommending stuff to. Would you visit a Micronesian country like Fiji? Um, yeah, I would. One of the issues with the countries like Fiji is the flights between them are very expensive. So, like, one of the things that I'm a big fan of is like country hop, right? So, spend a month in Thailand, then you spend a week in Malaysia, then you spend a month in Bali, then you spend a month in the Philippines, then you spend a week in Vietnam, right? That way you're able to see a lot of countries. Also, a lot of the countries in Southeast Asia have like very um, strict like visa requirements, so they can only stay, dude, all day, every day. So you can only stay for limited time anyway, right? So you kind of have to leave, and so um, that's the problem. Is that the thing that makes passport broing affordable is how cheap a lot of the flights are, right? Because if you're taking a flight every month, you have to factor that flight into your overall cost of living. I can get you audited, buddy. Be careful. Be careful about what? Audited about what? What am I doing that I should be careful about? Um. Anyway, um, the fact is that like if you're spending like thousands of dollars now on flights, that increases your living costs. Because again, if you're traveling every 30 days, the price of your plane ticket is now basically rent for you, if you know what I mean, right? And so that's why you have to take that into consideration. So that's one of the reasons why haven't really been to any of the like Micronesian countries is because it's just not economical for me to go there. My friend spent thousands to fly to Palau. I'm not surprised by that. Um, anyway, I just got threatened with an audit, which is kind of a weird thing to start your day with. But um, anyway, what do you do if you have a dog shit passport? I mean, the thing is, man, like, so my wife has a Venezuelan passport, which is probably one of the worst passports on planet Earth. And like, even with the worst passports, you can still find a lot of good places to go to, fundamentally speaking, right? So don't worry about it. Just find the best places for your passport. Um, the guy who asked that, what do you do if you have a dog shit passport? Um, what passport do you have? And we can like look at where you would go. Some people pay good money for an audit. Yeah, that was a weird way to start a conversation, especially some dude that I've never like talked to at all before. I've never had an interaction with this dude, and he's like jumping on my live, threatening me with an audit. He's probably like a virgin, like sitting in his mom's basement. Thinking about Lima for the summer, but don't know where to start. Yeah, I mean Lima's kind of basic, dude. Just stay in Miraflores, right? Go to Wong's, and you'll have a good time. Lima's a great place. Again, the food is incredible. Make sure to visit some of the like famous restaurants in Lima. But your parents prefer Poland over the USA. A lot of it for them is affordability. The USA is a very expensive right now, so that they retired, so they decided to go to Poland. Um, can Brazil? I mean, you can look up this up yourself, but visa requirements for Brazilian citizens. There's literally like a visa requirements map. So you need a visa to go to Canada. You don't need a visa to go to Finland with a Brazilian passport. Um, Brazilian passport's pretty strong, actually. Austin's go to Portugal in June for 2 weeks. I'm gonna be in Poland at that time, dude. Shoot me a message. Let's see if we can like meet up. Where's the finest girls in South America? Um, I mean, obviously, I think that like Venezuelan women are the hottest. They're obviously like not. You shouldn't go to Venezuela, but you can find a Venezuelan girls all over South America. But again, I'm married to a Venezuelan, so if I don't answer that, she'll like kill me. So um, we can decide to go for spring break, either Costa Rica or Panama or Puerto Rico. You should go to Costa Rica, man. That's the place that you should go for spring break. Yeah, I mean, my issue with Brazilians is that like it's so difficult to even define what a Brazilian girl is. You know what I mean? Like, are you into when you're saying you're into Brazilians? Like, are you into are you into like South Brazilian women? Are you into like women from Guyana? Are you into like Salvadorian women? Are you just like into all of them? I think it's like um uh it's not even they're all mixed. Is that they're all so different? You know what I mean? So I'm just like checking my performance of this video. I hate when my videos get good metrics but get terrible views. It pisses me off. Anyway, is your wife indigenous Venezuelan? Like, her family's from Venezuela, but she's not like an Indian. How's Venezuelans interpret the events happening? They love it. They absolutely love it. Every single Venezuelan in the world is happy about what happened. It's only white liberal women in the United States that are upset about Maduro. It's white liberal women and like Hassan, like the Twitch streamer who are upset. Everyone else is very happy about it. I mean, I'm married now, so that's kind of how I stay clean. Um, I've never been to Aruba. Is Cancun overrated? Um, Playboy Nemzi, I answered your question. I said yes. You can go to Finland without a visa. You need a visa to go to Canada. Also, this is a very easy question that you can Google yourself. Why are you wasting our time, you know, with that type of question? You know what I mean? Um, just imagine when Venezuela transitions to democracy is free, gonna be lit. Um, I mean, like, yes and no. I've become very pessimistic about the future of Venezuela. I'm not sure that it's gonna end up very well. Um, you look at the history of Venezuela, and they literally it took them 130 years to have their first peaceful transfer of power in the history of Venezuela. Um, they've had coups after coups, civil wars. It's like I don't know. Maybe things will change, but I don't think it will, to be honest with you. I actually think that it was a very good decision for them to leave Delcy Rodriguez in there because Delcy Rodriguez means stability, and like they didn't do the Iraq thing where they come in and they immediately change the entire government. You know what I mean? Oh, nice. We got two viewers on Twitch. Hey guys, do you have any travel questions? Um, I hear Maduro has collectivos harassing Venezuelans. Yeah, they 100% do. I mean, it's not as bad as the news makes it out to be, but it's definitely worse than like it is in the United States. You know what I mean? And I think that applies to a lot of things, just generally speaking. But yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I don't think it's like everybody's getting their phone checked, but there definitely are people getting their phone checked, and there are people with guns walking around checking phones. It's not a good place to be. Why are you trying to live in Venezuela if you aren't optimistic for the future? Um, I mean, I was trying to move to Venezuela on Saturday when I was a lot more optimistic about the future. Right now, it's Thursday in a very rapidly evolving situation, and so right now I'm a little more pessimistic. But if things change, I'll change my opinion. You know what I mean? Worth it to spend a year in Latam with no intention of learning Spanish? Like honestly, like it would be hard for you to spend a year in Latin America and not learn Spanish. It's actually difficult, I think, to spend an entire year in Latin America and leave it without speaking any Spanish whatsoever. Um, so you'll learn it literally just by talking to people. You know what I mean? So yeah. Um, what day for Cartagena? Cartagena is March 16th to the 22nd. We're about to fill up on that trip though. So like fill out the form, but we might have to push you back to another date. Um, yo, Alaska Native is back. Um, how'd you almost get bodied in Rio? Um, well, that's a long story, man. Um, just like don't here's the thing, right? I tell people this all the time, man. Like, if you're not an idiot walking around Rio de Janeiro, you'll be fine. A lot of people are a lot more scared of Rio de Janeiro than they should be. And I think generally speaking, if you're not an idiot, you'll be okay. That being said, I was an idiot. So, I got myself into some trouble. Usually, if you're following your guy down there a little bit too aggressively, then you're going to end up in trouble. What constitutes being an idiot? Um, I don't know, man. I was just looking for girls and drugs. Like, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say on TikTok, but I was looking for girls, I was looking for substances, and it blew up in my face. So, I don't think I'll ever go to Brazil. There's a lot going on, good and bad. I mean, that's the thing is that like I think you should definitely go to Brazil. Like I think it's worth going, and I think Rio de Janeiro is one of the most beautiful. Rio de Janeiro is the most beautiful city on planet Earth, in my opinion. It really is. I and like number two is very far away. Whatever the second most beautiful city on planet Earth is, it's a very distant number two to Rio de Janeiro. So I think everybody should visit Rio de Janeiro at least one time in their life. That being said, you should realize that like it's a big boy city. You know what I mean? And like you can't treat Rio de Janeiro like you're walking around like Des Moines, Iowa, right? So you need to like have a good head about you. But if you do, you will be fine. Should I be scared to meet her Venezuelan dad? Like my wife's been a Venezuelan dad, or are you dating a Venezuelan and you're scared to meet her dad? You shouldn't be scared to meet any woman's dad. You know what I mean? Like, why are you scared of that? You should be the man of the house. You know what I mean? You should be the man of the family. And part of being the man of the family is not being scared to meet people. Like, you know what I mean? Just like say, like, who cares about your opinion to me? And like your father-in-law is gonna respect that about you a lot more than you trying to impress him. Don't try to impress your father-in-law. Nothing will make them more upset, especially Latino, more upset than you trying to impress him. Just be like, look, here I am. I'm the dude your daughter's sleeping with. I'm gonna take care of her. Don't worry. It's all good. You know what I mean? Is Spanish or Portuguese harder to speak? That's actually an interesting question. So Spanish is a lot easier to speak, but because of that, it's harder to speak well, if that makes sense. So, like, you can get by with a very heavy gringo accent in Spanish, and people will be able to understand what you're saying pretty well. Um, but because of that, you're not forced to change your Gringlish, right? Portuguese, as a gringo, you have to learn how to pronounce the words correctly. You can't get around pronouncing Portuguese words incorrectly. So, in a weird way, because Portuguese is harder, it's a little bit easier for you to actually speak it well because you're forced to. How long to stay in Rio? I think minimum you should spend a week in Rio. I would like ideally I would say spend a month, but I think a week is fine. Um, what's up with the party boat, Cartagena? Click the link in the bio and we'll talk. I'll set up a time with you. We'll talk about the party boat. We'll talk about Cartagena. It's 1250 for 6 days. You stay in a mansion. You're on a party boat. Um, you know, you're on ATVs. It's amazing. It's gonna be a great time. Can you show a picture of your wife? Can we see your wife? No, dude, I don't show pictures of my wife. People keep on asking about pictures of my wife. I don't show pictures of my wife. That's like a hard and fast rule is that doesn't happen. So there are she has showed up on like streams in the past. I'm surprised there hasn't been like a really snoopy person who has gone through my old streams to like find a picture of my wife because she is there. It's just, um anyway, do we have any more questions besides asking for a picture of my wife? Um where would you recommend in Colombia for meeting a wife? Anywhere except for Cartagena and Medellin. Literally go anywhere else but those two cities. The best city I think is both